Welcome to the latest Latin to Latin Connection segment of the South Florida Community Roundup, where we bring you expert insights on important topics for our community. And today I'm excited because I have a very special guest, Malena Mendez, the president of and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward County. A true pillar of our local non-for-profit sector, Malena brings over 25 years of community leadership and an unparalleled passion for youth empowerment. Before taking the helm of Big Brothers Big Sisters in January 2021, she spent over 18 years driving major corporate partnerships and development at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts. As a proud Broward County local and a daughter of a Cuban immigrant, Malena views her leadership not as a job, but as a profound purpose. Under her guidance, the organization has shattered fundraising records, drastically reduced its waitlist for children needing mentors through her Brother Bigger, Better, and we're going to talk about it, and Stronger campaign, and is proudly celebrating 50 years of impact in our community. I also have the distinct privilege of serving alongside Malena on the board of governors at the Tower Club, where she continues to be a unifying force for local leaders. Malena, welcome, bienvenida.
Thank
How you
you.
doing?
Gracias. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes. Well, I'm excited and I'm honored because we have known each other for a while, and we serve on the board of the Tower Club, and you always have this energy and this vibrancy of you, and I just like it's contagious. So I was dying to have you on the show. As you know, it's once a month, and we booked in advance. So I'm happy that you were able to carve out some time. I know they have a big event coming up soon, and we want to thank you for that. But you know that as we were talking a little bit, this is about getting to know you first as a person, and then we're going to talk about your day job and the one that pays the bills, right? So tell me about your local, your Cuban American, and what else? What do we need to know about you?
So, a little bit about Malena Mendez. I was born in Cuba. I migrated here with my parents at a very young age. So I grew up very as a proud Cuban girl, very traditional. My parents, I have to say, both are gone now, but really typical Latin household in that era, where the kids did all the translating for them, right?
Yeah.
My parents, even though I grew up uh, in the 70s in Hollywood, Florida, and we came over. They assessed what my father knew how to do, which he owned butcher shops in Cuba. So they moved all of us to Chicago.
Oh,
And
okay. I didn't know that part.
yeah, they moved us to the Midwest, but we only lasted there. Imagine a bunch of Cubans coming from a tropical island, and now all of a sudden you're in
10 degrees.
knee deep of snow. So my mom and dad, very traditionalist. My dad worked two jobs during the day and evening, and then my mom worked at night at Zenith. Remember Zenith?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
that was before all
This
the.
is still in Chicago, what
This
you're
is
talking about.
Chicago. Yeah,
Okay.
I was young. I was not even 2 years old. I just had turned two, and after
Okay.
like 2 or 3 years of battling with the snow, we moved back to Miami, and
Of course, you have to.
because it was like, okay, this is not for us. And
Although there's a large concentration of Cubans in Chicago, by the
oh
way. I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah, yeah,
bet, yeah.
yeah. They're
Very, very vocal, very engaged in the community because I have the pleasure of working in Chicago for some projects. So, but I didn't know that part of you. So
yeah,
that's great. Okay. So
and
you came back to Miami or came back to Broward
came back to
directly?
Miami, and again in that very traditional mindset. My parents started saving up money and put down payment on a house that they had built. They bought the land in Hollywood,
Nice.
Florida, in those years in 1970. They bought a parcel of land for, I want to say it was $2,700.
Oh my God. You can find not even
That's
a rent for that.
They built their home, and when my dad passed away, that my mom moved in with me. I got all of the papers because, of course, they saved everything. Uh,
Nice. Good.
and they paid $27,000 for the house that they built
Mm.
from the ground up. And I lived in till I got married and moved out.
Oh, nice. How
And
many
so
siblings you have in
a
total?
brother and a sister, they live far away, so we don't get to
Oh,
spend.
I met, I think your brother. At the Tower Club, probably. I
It's
don't know.
not,
I think I
I
know.
don't think so. It's been
Yeah.
they don't come here too often.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting how you grow up in a town and I've literally seen this Broward County
Mm,
grow. I mean, grow
mm.
incredibly from cow pastures to
Literally. Hmm.
a big city.
A
Yeah,
booming city.
we lived a block from the cow pasture um,
Wow.
in Hollywood, and yeah, it was interesting in the summers. It was kind of
So,
stinky.
so let's talk about that in terms of since you open up about how the transition that Broward has had, and you have played a vital role in the organizations that you have worked with and continue to work with, and always in a non-for-profit space. So first, you were with the Broward. I mean, really, when I met you, you were. The person in charge of fundraising and everything at Broward Center, and that is an amazing organization, and it represents the arts and culture of the community. So tell me, how was that? Because you were probably the first Latina to hold that position, wasn't it?
So it was interesting because I actually had met then the vice president of government community affairs that was my direct report, and her name was Terry Gorman, and I met her through PLNP. I don't know if you remember Al Padron and Carlos Leo, that they own a Hispanic ad agency
Oh, I heard about them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
many, many,
Okay.
many
Hmm.
years ago. And I met them through Hispanic Unity. Hispanic
Yeah.
Unity. I was involved with Hispanic Unity and Maria San Juan, and back in the day when Josie was there, and I was
Yes.
a board member for many. I'm very proud to say I'm a board member emeritus to this day. And so Al calls me and says, "Hey, there's a position at the Broward Center, and I think you would be great." And I met Terry, and she said, "You know what? We don't have a position right now, but I'm going to create one for you."
Wow.
And
How close.
she said, "We have a department. It's the foundation side, and the fundraising that's always been here has always been very traditional foundation fundraising.
Hmm.
And I think we're leaving a lot of money on the table on the corporate partnership side, sponsorship,
Okay.
and things like that." So in 2002, I was hired at the Broward Center to create the
That department.
department. So the foundation was in existence, and in that time, bless her soul, she's passed since. But Leslie Brown was the executive director of the foundation
But
later.
but 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 that's I want to stop you for a second because I want to understand the thinking, in terms of what was the vision then, because you guys have managed, and I'm sure you led that, bringing amazing patrons to the arts, from the local corporate business, etc. And this is, Broward is not like a big, it's not Miami, it's not New York, where you have multinationals established there. There are just a few of big companies, and at that time probably less, much less than today. So how did you what was you how did you do it? Because it was incredible,
Well,
what you guys did.
what's that famous saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Um,
I love that.
but I have to say, Broward County, and maybe I'm a little biased because I've lived here my whole life. I want to
Sure.
say I turned 60 last year,
We're
and
same club, same
yeah.
club.
So I think, and of those 60 years, I have lived 55, if not 56 of those years right here in Broward County.
Hmm.
Lived for a
Yeah,
little while in Miami when I got married to my husband, the father of my children, but came right back to Broward and I've been here my whole life. Um,
nice.
and I think, it was great visionaries back then that did the groundbreaking for the Broward
Hmm.
that Broward County was known as, the beach and
Farm. Okay, I get true. Hmm.
the spring break place. And there was a huge movement many, many, many years ago to really kind of get away from that spring break scene, and
And true.
a lot of trailblazers that were part of that redevelopment and rethinking were the ones that were really responsible for even, the high-end hotel properties that we have now. And it
Yeah.
was a long
Michelin restaurants and everything. I know that you're a foodie, so I know
it was
that's a
a
big deal for you.
long process with great visionary thinkers, and many of those visionaries were part of what is the Broward Center today. So I didn't join the Broward Center until 2001, 2002. My
Hmm.
goodness.
Yeah.
Um, there was no corporate partnership department. It was really the foundation side, and they would raise dollars from donors, but not a lot of visibility. It was more of
Hmm.
supporting the arts because you believed in preserving and supporting art. And
Hmm.
I
So
came.
these were original people that we need to do something, bring culture to Broward, and we are going to donate X amount of dollars. But it wasn't even corporate focus; it was more of a personal
It
way.
was
So right.
individuals and foundations, and I have to say, again, it was a challenge. I remember when I started at the Broward Center, the Philharmonic was, folded a year
Mm,
later.
wow.
Um, and then there was an organization, a resident company concert association, which also went under. And little by little, we were seeing the demise of audiences, even
Hmm.
because the understanding was that even the programming was seasonal when I started in 2001. The bulk of the programming was from October through May, which is our season, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Birds come down, and the majority of the audience members were our New Yorkers. It was that Northeast feeder market.
Right.
But now the Broward Center is alive and well year round and thriving,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
programming is so diverse and so
Yes. I have to tell you, I mean, me coming from New York, initially when I moved to Broward was very inspiring to see that there was, shows coming from Broadway. You had the traveling groups,
absolutely.
etc., but you had top-notch presentations, and I have had some of the most wonderful experiences at the Broward Center. I want to kind of move on because I know we have short time, and I know that was an amazing experience, and that's where we met. But that you leap from there to go to youth, and we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk first about, you mentioned your sons, and I'll talk about a little bit about, because I know how proud you are. I think one of a doctor, I believe, and
I'm a
um,
both.
both
I
of
have
them,
two amazing,
both. Oh my God, tell me about it. This is amazing. This is
incredible boys, and I have to give it to them. Honestly, um, I look back, and I'm like, I don't even remember even looking at their college applications, right? These
I just
boys,
didn't know.
they just plowed through, and they're both Seminoles, so Florida State grads. My son David is now
Yes.
a very proud. I can't believe I'm going to have this year a 40-year-old son.
It's
I guess I'm
okay. You look at her, you look young.
child is 20, and I'm because I'm 60. But
For the
Dave,
audience, she looks amazing. She doesn't even look 60.
thank you. David and his wife are both doctors. They actually met in residency. They both
Nice.
for Duke University, and they run the urgent care.
Oh,
And Alex, my youngest son, is a doctor in nurse practitioning, and
nice.
for Mayo Clinic up in Jacksonville in the emergency room.
Oh my
Very
God. How accomplished.
family medicine. The other one likes the thrill and the
Yeah.
heart skipping of the heartbeat for emergency. But amazing children. Well, children. I use that. They're always going to be my.
Of course. Of course. They will always be your children.
Yeah. So David 40 will be 40 this year in July, and Alex will be 35 this year in July. And I have two amazing little grandbabies,
Yes.
sons, the sons of my oldest son, David, Lucas, and Matthew. So yeah, I am a typical Latina mom, very proud of her
Uh,
children, and I love
Good.
to brag about it. I wish you had about 3 or 4 hours. I
We
could
could
just
talk about it.
I could talk about them all day long.
But I wanted to bring that because I think it's important. I want people to understand how you balance, to be successful in what you're doing and everything with corporate or with for profits at the senior level, but at the same time being able to raise two sons that they're both. I didn't know both of them were in the medical field and that they're successful. And I see, because I know, and you will share this when we see each other, that how dedicated you are, even though in the Carolinas and you're down in Florida, but you get to see them, you get to spend time, and you always find time to be with your family. And I think that is important to share that. So let's
It's
jump.
huge for me. And
Yes.
for
No, no, go
me,
ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
it's what refuels me, right?
There you
Nonprofit
go.
work is tough. Not,
Yeah.
at the Broward Center, I used to say, looking back, oh, it's easy because I had something that was tangible, right? I had
Hmm.
tickets, I had a space, I had an experience that I could provide for someone. You know, transitioning into Big Brothers, Big Sisters, what we do here is so powerful, but sometimes not as tangible, right?
Hmm.
You see it later on because you see it in the success and the growth of a child, but you don't see it. It's not a quick return.
Right.
It takes a little
Yeah.
bit of.
And you have to plant the seed and then let it grow. So let's talk a little bit about Big Brother. I mean, so you get the big job as the CEO of one of the top organizations in Broward and also a national level. But how was that transition? Did they find you? You found them? How did that happen in terms
So
of?
I honestly thought that I was going to retire from the Broward Center. I 20 plus years.
You
Um,
seem to be like right at home. Like
I'm
it
in
was
my
your
50s
place.
at that point, and I'm like, I got 10 more years. That's it. I'm at 65. I'm gonna become that snowbird where I'm gonna get a place near my grandchildren and my son in North Carolina and commute back and forth and just live the life of an abuela. That was my
Right.
I
I
wanted
love
to be
that.
an abuela. And to focus on that. And I got a call. I never forget, it was a Monday, and I got a call from the then CEO, Anna Cedeno,
Mm. Okay.
and calls me up and she says it was a Monday, and that's why I was in my office. And she said, "So this is 2019, before COVID was a thing." And she,
Hmm.
listen, I'm planning my retirement, and we're doing this succession planning, and time again, your name keeps popping up, and the characteristics that we're looking for in the next CEO keeps coming back to you. And I was like, well, I'm really flattered, but I've never been a CEO and I've never run a company. I've run departments, which is
Sure.
very, very different. And I said, I know this is your baby, Anna. Anna had been here for over 25 years, 27 years.
Oh,
And
well.
she says, listen, you don't need to make a decision today. I'm not going anywhere for another 2 years, but I want to start planting the seed.
Okay.
And, I was so taken aback. I was so flattered that, here this
It's an
successful
invitation.
girl,
Yeah.
was actually thinking that I could take her baby, that she
Yeah.
grew from nothing. 30, I've been here for 5 years. So imagine Big Brothers Big Sisters has been here in Broward for 52 years, and Anna
52 years. Wow.
52 years, and
Very
Anna.
briefly, what is the focus of Big Brother, Big Sisters? Because a lot of people get it confused, and I'm sure what
Absolutely.
is
Have a
it
solid
that?
time with Boys and Girls Club, with
Yeah.
other
Right.
organizations, all the bees.
Yeah.
Um, but
Really, it
Big
is.
Brothers Big Sisters is the oldest and largest mentoring organization in the world. It
Wow.
was established in this country in 1904. So we've been here in the United States. It originated
Incredible.
in New York. You're one of the cities that you lived for many years. By a clerk of the county courts that saw a lot of young boys coming through his court.
Mm.
And he said, these kids don't need punishment. What they need is guidance and support.
Somebody to guide them.
And so he started Big Brothers in 1904. And
Incredible.
125 years later, 100 and yeah, almost 25 years later,
It's good.
um, here we are.
Yes, that's
And we
amazing.
are in every single state and in 11 countries.
Incredible. I didn't even know that. And then, as I continue to understand more about what you do and everything, I realized that it's worldwide. Very briefly, because we're coming almost to the end, but I know that you have had many accomplishments, but what is the one thing you will ask somebody to learn about, what they can do to join or to be part of it, or a young person's life to help out?
It's been the age-old need for big brothers, big sisters, right? every nonprofit needs money.
Mhm.
100%,
Of
right? We
course.
can't
Yeah.
run an organization without the financial support, but also the expertise and the leadership of so many dynamic people from in the community. We have an incredible board, and without their
You
support
do. Very
and
impressive board.
and not or and their leadership,
Hmm.
um, we would not have experienced the growth that we've experienced in the last 5 years since I've gotten here. But our greatest need still today and has been for 120 years is more bigs. We just
Mm.
need more people in the community that step up and say, I'm here. I'm going to be a presence in your life. And a lot of people ask me, what's the commitment?
Mhm.
What do I have to do? I see myself as a role model. And you know what? Sometimes saying role model is a scary word because people
Yeah,
just see themselves as an ordinary person. Um, but they want to make a difference. And that's all it takes. That's our tagline. It takes little to be big
mm,
because sometimes it's just showing up and being that extra caring adult in the life of the child, somebody who's gonna, sometimes it's mom that's working two jobs
yeah.
and the kids come home and just having somebody go play basketball or go have a slice of pizza and listen and um, guide them. It's incredible to me how a lot of our children, they just don't know what they don't know, and having some
Agree.
speak for my little. I have a little. I met her.
Hmm.
She was 5. She's now 9. Um,
Oh.
really learned just
Oh,
as
I see. You take her to the Tower Club and you take her to different places. I see her all the time. It's
well.
beautiful.
And I have to tell you, she's born and raised here in Fort Lauderdale. Do you know that she had never been to the beach?
No, oh my God, really? I believe it. I
And
understand.
and
Mhm.
think about it. They grew up in a community. Sometimes the things that we just take for granted, that
Hmm.
for us is just so matter of fact,
Hmm.
um, it's not for kids growing up in, and not all of them are part of challenging communities and challenging environments, but a lot of the kids that we serve are. And so sometimes it's just creating that experience of them seeing something other than their surrounding, something
You
as simple
know,
as being a beach.
I agree with you. I also mentor college students from FSU, Seminole. And it's incredible to see sometimes you believe that when they're 18, 19 years old, etc. And when you start talking to them about certain things, you I take for granted that they may know about it and they don't. So everybody needs a mentor, even in our own age, we always need someone to help us out. So I guess the ask here is to the audience is that if you have time that you can share and take time to mentor a youth in your community, reach out to Malena and she will hook you up and set you up with the right proper protocols. I'm sure you have the protocols to with the
Oh,
children and
child
mentorship and
safety is
everything.
child safety is a big, it's a
Yeah,
big initiative for us. So we make sure to put all those guardrails in. But yeah, we ask to commit for at least a year
there you
and
go.
meet with your little once or twice a month for an hour.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
I,
all. That's
it's
it.
time a month. Or just call.
Yeah.
Just show up. That's sometimes
Yes.
got to do.
We have very little time, but I want to mention because our relationship at Tower Club is really huge. Your perspective, I think, is important to understand that although that's a private city club, there's a lot of opportunities to bring non for profits and the business sector together. What do you think? How do we develop that human capital that your organization needs
I
by your present with Tower Club, for instance?
I think the one cool thing about the Tower Club, right? It's a social club,
Mhm.
but it lays the foundation for a very organic development of relationships, right? Look at us. We met at the Tower Club. We met,
Mhm.
having a conversation. Sometimes um, you just don't know who you're going to meet there, but it creates an environment of leaders in the community, great connection, great conversation, and it's just very organic.
It
The
is.
Tower Club creates. I always say it's this sort of non-intrusive. You don't even know you're doing business or talking business,
It's organic and
and
fluid.
it just happens, right? It
Yes.
starts with something as simple as you're having a glass of wine, and it's like, so what do you do for a living? And there goes the
And,
conversation, right?
and the light bulb, yeah. It's
And then
nice.
thing you realize it's like, oh, I know a friend. She does
Mm,
branding and marketing
mm,
for, companies that really want to penetrate into the Hispanic community. Her name's Mindy. And just like,
mm.
um,
I
uh,
know. We have had so many different conversations. I know we have to wrap up, and I'm sorry to to
yes,
to
we do.
rush
We
you,
need like
but
five more segments.
yes, I know. But anyway, Malena, thank you so much for the passion, for everything you do in the community. I'm really, really honored. I'm privileged to call you a friend, a colleague, and also a member of our Tower Club. I want to wish anybody that's interested in helping Big Brother Big Sister to mentor the youth to please be in touch with Malena. You can also, reach out to us through Latin to Latin Connection. We try to bring the voice of the Latino entrepreneurs, the business people, the civic leaders to share their insights and get to know people like Malena. And if you are interested in participating, you can reach out to us at info@l2lmarketing.com. And we are aired the third Saturday of every month at 7 a.m. And we'll send you all the information, in social media. And looking forward to our next month's guest is Greg Chavarria, former city manager of Fort Lauderdale. He's doing great stuff. So stay tuned y hasta la próxima.